It's time for another Do All the Things with Me video. Oh yes, in this video, we're gonna be pretty much maximizing this kitchen out to get so many things done. It was such a productive 2 days, and I'm wanting to bring y'all along with me on this cook, bake, can, all the things. Let's go. Hey y'all, welcome back to Grains and Grit. My name is Felicia, and on this channel, we talk all things real whole grains, all from a biblical perspective. So again, y'all know that I mainly teach y'all about milling your grains and all of those things, but this is also, I enjoy these type of videos where I just kind of bring y'all along in my kitchen to see kind of a realistic, more looking time in my kitchen. But in this one, was a truly productive 2 days. So I actually, in order to make this as productive as possible, I did sit down and make a plan beforehand so I knew where I was going. But we are going to be cooking and baking and canning and all kinds of things. I pretty much put all of my devices, I maxed them out to capacity to use every single thing pretty much I have in this kitchen. So come along with me. We're going to be doing cookies, different types of bread. We're going to be making stock, canning beans, making yogurt, all kinds of stuff. So I'm also going to be teaching you a bit as I go along. Recipes will be in the description box below. So feel free to cook or bake along with me as we do all this together. So before we go into this, I have a little story to tell y'all that I'm like really excited about. And we're coming out here. This is my beautiful porch. And I wanted to come out here because it is a beautiful day. We do not have much more of these in Florida. Okay, so beautiful morning. I have to enjoy it while I can because here in Florida, the dog days of summer is upon us. But I have a story to tell you guys because I recently went to Oklahoma. Yes, this Florida girl finally got to see a wheat field. So in case you don't know, Florida does not grow wheat, and neither really does Georgia or Alabama or even Louisiana, I'm pretty sure. So all in my southern world here, we just don't really grow wheat. Or if we do, I haven't found it, but definitely in Florida. And so actually 4 Generations Organic Farms invited me to do a whole farm tour of their farm in Oklahoma. And it was super cool. Like, I may have been a bit geeking out, nerdy, to actually stand in a wheat field, but also just to tour the facilities, and especially 4 Generations Organic Farms. And they are sponsoring this video today, but all opinions are my own. And this visit, like, I already love them, but I think this visit made me love them even more. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are estate grown, which I also figured out what that meant a bit more. And that means that, which I knew this, that they sell the wheat that they grow themselves. What was new to me is how many places that you can buy wheat berries from that they don't necessarily grow their own wheat. Now I knew Azure Standard, Pleasant Hill Grain, those companies, they grow some of their wheat, but not all of it. Like, I already knew that. But other ones that they stated, I was surprised because I was under the impression like they grew all their wheat, but that's not the case. But in the case of 4 Generations Organic Farms, all the wheat that you buy from them, they grow it themselves, and they are great people that I met and was able to see how they did things. And it was just really cool. And I love the fact that everything was so personalized, the fact that they personalize, you know, their packing and everything. Anyway, I have a video coming out in a few weeks. I'm taking y'all with me on a tour, but I just wanted to tell y'all, like, it really was a cool experience. And if you haven't toured a wheat farm, you really should. But I tell you all this because in this video, all the wheat products, with the exception of soft white wheat, because they do not grow soft white wheat, I was using 4 Generations wheat, and I never have a problem with them. It's organic wheat berries shipped right to my home that are a good price. They are clean wheat berries, and I know that my bread is going to work every single time, like top of the line. So if you're looking for a hard red or hard white, I do recommend them. And again, they're great people to support. You need to, and it's just go to grainsandgrit.com/4generations and use coupon code grainsandgrit for 10% off your first order. And again, be sure to watch for that video in a few weeks because they were just some really great people and it was a really cool experience. All right, so we're gonna get these black beans going. This is super easy. Again, I did not soak. I do not want to soak. I always forget to soak, and it's okay. There's really not much difference with soaking. But here, this is the 8 quart Instant Pot. So it is one of the larger ones, but I think the maximum I can do is 2 pounds of beans. I'm going to see how much, because it calls for basically 1 pound of beans. You need 8 cups of water in the Instant Pot, and I'm going to be cooking it on high for about 20 minutes. I do not need it fully cooked because they are going to be pressure canned, and that's going to cook them further. I just need them mostly cooked. I'm also not going to add any sort of seasonings to it because I want to be able to add it myself depending on what I want to use in the future. I did forget that I can actually do 3 pounds of beans in here because that's to my max fill, which 3 pounds of beans is roughly about, ooh, that was a bit sealed. Because 3 pounds of beans are roughly about 6 cups. It's about 2 cups per 1 pound. And this contains 8 cups, so we're almost there. Okay, so there we go. And I am going to go ahead and remove a little bit of this water because it's just a little bit over my max line here. There we go. And now this baby's going to go on high for 20 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm cooking beans and I can walk away. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and get the stock going because this is gonna take quite a long time simmering on my stove. Now, stock is also something that you can do in your Instant Pot. I know many people talk about doing that. For me, whenever I make stock, I do prefer to can it so that way it's ready to go for me whenever I need it. So this will depend on what you're wanting to accomplish. If you're just wanting to do stock, say for the week to use, I would just use your Instant Pot so you're not heating up your house, using up your stovetop. That's just an appliance that you can just set aside, do it overnight, whatever the case may be. So depends on your goals. For me, I want to can, and I have a lot of chicken carcasses basically that I've been saving in my fridge. We have a small homestead here. We do raise our own meat birds, and so all of my chickens, all the chicken I use are always whole chickens. And so what I do whenever if I'm not doing just a roast chicken, if I'm just cutting off pieces, I actually put the rest of the chicken carcass, any bones that haven't been cooked or anything like that, in a Ziploc bag. And I store them in my freezer for whenever I'm ready to do a big stock or throw it in my Instant Pot, whatever the case may be. Do know in my 8-quart Instant Pot, I can easily fit 2 chicken carcasses. Now that's all the meat, all the stuff removed. That can go in my Instant Pot just fine. But we are busting out big pot here to be able to do as much as possible so I can have it canned. I'm going to show y'all how crazy easy it is. All right, so as you can see, I don't even unthaw them. And I'm not going to reuse these bags. They've had raw chicken in it. But these are completely frozen. Okay, that's one. Usually I can fit 2 in a bag, which is why I just use scissors to open them up. Okay, we're gonna stick, so that fit 4. This is, I believe, like a 3-gallon pot if you're needing information. So this one's gotta go back in the freezer. What I may do is have this one kind of at the end of the night go into the Instant Pot because I have a feeling I'm not gonna be canning this tonight. I may even have it simmering all night because it's actually 4 o'clock right now. So it's just probably going to take that long. I want really good stock. So I may just go ahead and get this going. That's going to be going possibly even overnight. And this be in my Instant Pot while I sleep tonight. So when I wake up tomorrow morning, I have a whole lot of stock that I can can. So now what we're going to do, that's our chicken that we have here. We're then going to fill this up with water. And while that's filling up with water, let's grab our other ingredients. One of these days, I'm gonna have to get one of those spigots above my stove when the kitchen remodel's done. All right, so we have this filled up with water, and then all I don't even measure, is we add roughly what looks like about, for this much, probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar. We're then going to add just what I feel like adding for salt. That's about 3 handfuls. Obviously, if I'm using only 1 chicken carcass, it's less than this. We do some pepper. Again, I'm mainly going for the stock. I can always really season it later depending on what I'm cooking. Okay, some Italian seasoning. And I actually use the caps. So basically 1 capful per gallon roughly that I'm making. Might do 2.5 capfuls of this. Okay, and then I just break up the celery. And the great thing about stock is any scraps, so like these little tree thingies, feel free to put them in a Ziploc bag, keep it in your freezer. So all these little scraps you can throw into your stocks. All right, and usually for a typical 1 or 2 gallons, 1 onion, but today I'm using 2 onions. I put in peels and all. So I usually just like to quarter the onion. That's 1/4 there. This is why stock is so easy, because you don't have to worry about peeling the onions or peeling the garlic. So again, I like to put in, I don't know, I kind of go by my heart on this one, and it always turns out good. Again, the biggest thing we're looking for is just a good stock. We really get all of that gelatin and collagen and all those good things out. So you can never really have too much garlic, right? So I'm adding about 6 cloves. All right, and then on the stove it goes. We bring it up to a boil, and then it's going to simmer for a very long time. All right, so we already have that going. We have the stock started. We have our black beans started. And if I wasn't stopping to teach y'all and move the camera around, that would have taken me maybe 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and work on this yogurt, and then we got to get a bread loaf in the bread machine. Okay, so I'm about to show y'all a stupid easy way that I am now making yogurt, and it turns out amazing. Now I will say this method was made easier because of my dehydrator, but even if you don't have a dehydrator, you can still do this. This is actually from Jill Winger. I will post her video. If you just do Jill Winger easy yogurt or something like that, she goes through this. So I have adopted this. I love it. It is giving me excellent yogurt. So all you need is a large pot, put a towel down at the bottom. You need 4 wide mouth mason jars, which if you're like me, we got plenty of those. And then you need some milk. You do not have to do 4, by the way. This does not have to be 4. If you just want to do 1, that's fine. Large family mama. And this takes time to do. So however many quarts you want that fit in your pot, which I need to make sure does this all fit. Let me see. Yes, it does. Okay. So make sure your jars fit in your pot, or you can use multiple pots. But all that this does is this actually all makes the yogurt in these jars. So you're not having to use a lot of other dishes. This just has water in it. You can just, dump out and dry. And this is just really easy because it's another thing that goes on in the background. Now, this is also something that you can use for your Instant Pot, and a lot of people love doing yogurt in the Instant Pot. However, the reason why I prefer not to do it is because it really takes up my Instant Pot for a long time. So if doing this, I would actually make sure that it's going overnight, so you don't need your Instant Pot, and then get a second insert because it needs to still stay in the insert for a lot longer, even though it's not in the Instant Pot. Most people just take it and put it in their fridge to set. So that's why I generally don't do it in the Instant Pot. So just keep that in mind. If you want to do it, I would do it overnight and second insert. But this I love because it's, by the time it's done, it's already in jars. I'm just, I'm screwing the lid on, putting it in the fridge, and done. Like, it's done. So I'm doing 4 today. So I've got my gallon of milk. Now do know that I do this where it pasteurizes the milk. Jill Winger goes through that in her video. So even though this is raw milk that I'm using, so long as you're not using ultra pasteurized milk, yogurt will work. So you can use store-bought milk. We're going to fill this up. That one I did a little too much because I'm adding yogurt. Okay, so leave a little bit of room at the top. But that's the beauty of yogurt, is you can really redeem that store-bought milk if that's all you can get your hands on, because you're going to have some great cultures. Now you can buy your yogurt cultures. I love Cultures for Health. They are wonderful. And that's what I use to start my yogurt. And now I just continue with yogurt that I have already. And that's what I use as a starter. So what we do here, as you can see, I did leave, because I have starter. If I had the culture started, the powdered, I'd fill this all the way up here because that doesn't take much. But since I'm adding the yogurt in as a starter, I just wanted to leave a little extra room. So we are going to, for the sake of heaviness and make sure I don't spill all this, I'm going to move this to my stovetop, put the jars in, and then fill it up with water on my stove so I don't run the risk of spilling any of this. Okay, so like I said, we're putting a towel here so the jars do not jostle or anything. If you have like a little trivet, that would work as well. But all we have to do is we're now adding these in. And then I'm going to carefully start adding in water. One thing I did not mention is make sure your jars are clean. You don't want any other bad bacteria getting into your yogurt. No bueno. And I went ahead and got this hot water as hot as I could from my kitchen sink to save time of it heating up. And we're going to fill it up until the water comes to about where you see this jar starts curving in, right up to the shoulder here. All right, and the reason why you don't want too much water is you don't want the water boiling up over and getting into your milk. Okay, that is perfect. So we're going to put this on high and we are going to let this heat up. We're pasteurizing our milk, which means we're going to wait until the milk gets to 160 degrees. It's the little thermometer here that we're going to be using. So this is something that I pretty much leave. I do, when I'm busy like this, like to set a timer to remind me to check it. But that's another hack. Have a lot of timers in your kitchen and set timers for everything, because if you're like me, you get distracted, all the kids need all the things, and then you burn something. So timers, lots of them. But I'm going to set a timer and be checking on this. It is normal to see a skim of milk on the top, starting to get a skim as it heats up. That's normal, that's fine. And that means it's getting close. So we're going to get this going, and that's already on high. As you can see, our stock is still here as well. And now let's get on, I think to the bread machine. I think that's what we're doing. All right, so I have all my ingredients already measured, ready to go. Let's get it done in the bread machine. Now, I did a video all about this. I do recommend the Zojirushi bread machine because it has custom settings. And whenever you are using freshly milled wheat, just know that most bread machines have only been calibrated to white flour, bread flour, the fake flour. Freshly milled wheat, different ball game. So the Zojirushi actually has 3 custom settings that you have, so you can customize it to how you like. I will spare you all the details right now of how to do this, but I do recommend watching that video where I walk you through it, problem solving, everything like that. It is possible by the time this video is live, that another video has come out of how I make Ezekiel bread in the bread machine. Took me forever to figure it out, but I finally figured it out, and that video may be out. If not, look for it very, very, very soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mill our wheat. One thing I did not mention in my video is I found that hard red wheat works the best with a bread machine. It just does. You can use hard white, but I find that hard red just does better with this. Now it's ready, boom, like that. Be put in the bread machine and let us do its thing. Now, do you know, my bread machine is usually not here. It is in a different spot, but for the video, I put it here. Okay, and we choose our course, which that is mine. Start. Ta-da! All right, now it's time to roll some oats. And that's my timer for the yogurt. Let's check that. All right, moving you over here really quick. The yogurt is done. That's why I set a timer, because I would have forgotten. I have been checking, but it is at 160 degrees. So all we do now is we're just going to carefully, love these little jar things. This will be very hot. Carefully remove them and put them on a towel, because they will need to cool to 110 degrees. If you put your yogurt starter in before it is 110 degrees, you will kill it, and then you'll have some weird looking milk. All right, and I'm in Florida, so I'm just go ahead and covering this with the lid because I don't want bugs to get in it, and I have bugs. We're in the country, we're in Florida, there are bugs. I envy people who live in a place with no bugs. I don't know what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna set a timer again to check this. Reaches 110 degrees. I'm gonna add in my yogurt starter and then into the dehydrator to culture for 24 hours. So to start with, I'm gonna set this timer for 30 minutes. I think before it usually takes about an hour, but I like to check to make sure. Back to rolling flakes. I like to do this especially in advance so that way I have oatmeal for the rest of the week. Now I usually take my rolled oats, cut them up to where they are quick oats. And again, I did a video all about this that will be linked. But bottom line is we're gonna put in our oat flaker. This is one that I got from Pleasant Hill Grain and it goes with the Bosch. So if you have a mixer, it's possible that you'll have an oat flaker attachment. Maybe, yeah. They also come standalone. We go through a lot of oats here, so that's why this was definitely beneficial to have. So this is great. So with that, you need this, and this does take some time to do, but have another glass jar to put in your rolled oats in. We need them for the granola. We need them for the oatmeal cookies, and I would like to go ahead and prep some so they're ready to go for breakfast later on this week as well. And while this is doing its thing, I'm going to be milling some wheat for bread that I need later, and just seeing what and prepping all the things that I need for recipes coming up. All the sounds in the kitchen. We got the flaker, we have the grain mill, we now have the bread machine. It's all going. All right, now I actually don't have all the nuts that she says. She calls for almonds, walnuts, and pecans. I just have walnuts, so I'm going to use 1.5 cups of walnuts, and hopefully we will like that. So I think I've got enough here already. I'm gonna go ahead and get this going and then I can continue rolling these out while this has already started. So again, I've already added together, I've done 1.5 cups of walnuts because that's the nut that I had, 1/2 cup of sucanat, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1 teaspoon salt. Now we're gonna add 4 cups of the rolled oats. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and stir it all up. Okay. So again, be sure to watch her reel. I don't know if she also put it up on YouTube, but it is on a reel. So if it's on YouTube, it would be a short. Pretty short. Okay, and now we add in the liquid stuff, but not the dried raisins, not the dried raisins that I'll be using later. We add that after it's done. So we're gonna put in our honey. I'm using honey, 1/2 cup of honey, 1/2 cup of coconut oil. Okay, and then we have, I think 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoons vanilla extract. Okay. All right, and then she says to put it, so we're gonna stir all this up, and then it's going to be on high in my slow cooker, but the lid is going to be partially off. This allows it to be more crunchy. All right, so we're stirring that all together until it's all nice and incorporated. My plan with this is I would like to see if my children especially will like to have this like as a cereal, especially for mornings where we just need a quick breakfast and I wouldn't have to cook or really make something. We don't do cereal in this house, so my kids haven't grown up eating cereal, but every now and then it's a treat and they love it. So I think they will like this too, or using it for the yogurt, make some yogurt parfaits. Delicious. And this, oh, smelling good. Okay, so we're gonna put it again on high. We're gonna put the lid on, leave it a little crooked. Cook on high for 2 to 3 hours, stirring every 30 minutes. Another timer. Okay, lid a little skew, 30 minutes. All right, so now this is where having 2 mixers comes in handy because I'm gonna be bringing out Miss Annie Artiste, setting her up here. This is gonna continue rolling oats, and in the Artiste, I'm gonna be mixing up the oatmeal cookies. I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So to recap where we're at right now, we've got a loaf going in the bread machine. We're rolling oats. We have stock going. We have the yogurt waiting to be cooled down to 110 degrees. And then now we've started on the granola and we're still going, y'all. So now it's oatmeal cookies. These are favorites in the house. Personally, mine is chocolate chip, which I got a recipe for that as well. That'll knock your socks off. And yes, this is made with freshly milled wheat. Now, I will say what I already did is I already had some soft white wheat already milled. That's what I'll be using. So quick thing with freshly milled wheat. For cookies, you want soft white wheat. That is what's going to work. Just trust me on this. Again, this will be a recipe for y'all. Now, these can also be turned into whoopie pies if you wanted that, like the Little Debbie ones. All right, into the oven we go for only 10 minutes. We have like 2 more minutes. So we are stirring this up. Oops, what up if I got the camera on it? Guys, like this is the coolest thing ever. Like to be able to do this, not take up my oven. Okay, that is stirred. Lid back on, crooked. And let me restart this timer for 30 more minutes. This is done. This is staying warm for me. So because I do want my beans hot before I can them. So this is ready to go when I'm ready to can. And then we still have our yogurt. So those are the black beans, if you're not sure. So we still have our yogurt going. Let me check this. The skim on top is normal. We're looking for it to be 110 degrees. It is still comfortably at 130. So we still got some more time with that. So let me reset this timer. And then here is the, whoa. All right, so the stock is going. Gonna uncover that. I know it looks crazy. It doesn't look so appetizing, but it will be. And that will cook down. So now that it's at a boil, I'm now gonna turn this down to where it can be simmering. And that's gonna go probably all night. It is 5:35 right now. And so we're gonna keep that going. My canner will soon be here. Let's see how, and then our bread machine, we are baking. Oh, that is looking beautiful on the inside. It says we have about 30 minutes left on this loaf of bread. And we're doing good, y'all. We're doing good. All right, these are finally done. I'm actually going to save these for later to do overnight oats. I'm going to do that a little bit later tonight. That way they're in the fridge for the perfect amount of time. Okay, so here's the deal. If you didn't know with cookies, is always take them out when they don't look quite done, because that means they perfect. Okay, so let's get these out. I can already tell they're a bit brown on the bottom, and the reason is because they're going to cool, and as they cool, they are going to harden a bit. And unless you like really crunchy cookies, which do your thing if that is you, otherwise these would be perfect. Okay, and I do like to immediately take them off the cooling rack. So they are going to feel like, oh no, they're not done at all. They are, I assure you. Now you got to be gentle with them, like scoop them up well, otherwise they will fall apart. But as they cool, they are going to turn into the best oatmeal cookies you've ever had in your life. Okay, so here's one super cool thing about these cooling racks. Ta-da! Bam! Hold on. Hold on. I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! These are from Pampered Chef, and I love them. Okay, so I had to take a break to feed my family supper. So I think the loaf bread from the bread machine is done. I think I would like to also throw in an Ezekiel bread. Again, I'm not sure if that video was out or not as of this video, the Ezekiel bread in the bread machine. So if that's available, I will link it up here and down in the description box below. But I want to go ahead and take that out. My loaf did fall a little bit, but I think that was my fault because I think I accidentally tweaked some of the settings. Need to change it back. And then my canner is ready to go. We're now going to get the beans ready to be canned because those need, I think, like 60 or 75 minutes after it comes to pressure and all the things. So that's going to take some time. That can be going. I've got to also get bread made and cinnamon rolls. I like to get those done. And yeah, we're just going to continue trucking along. The chicken stock is doing good. The yogurt is almost ready. Once I take the beans out of the Instant Pot, I'm going to put some brown rice in to be prepped for this week. And then my granola has been looking good. I think I might need another hour on it. So a good like 4 hours, I think, but 3 hours. Oh, I can't remember. So everything's coming along and the cookies are there. They're being devoured by my family and we'll just keep trucking along. All right, y'all, it's time to can these beans. And all of the people who love to can and are very big on like safe canning practices, you will be happy because this time I actually am using approved canning methods by cooking the beans. Again, I did a video of dried beans and I'm personally having a problem with it, but again, that is not an approved canning method. So I've got the jars. How I like to do it is I've got Miss Old Lady Silver over there, water in it that is heating up. My jars are clean, but I just put them under the hottest water. I fill them up with the hottest water I have in my sink, which is actually pretty hot. So those are warming up and I have my bands here. And then these are the lids that I personally love to use. I love 4 jars. Never had a single problem with their lids. They also have these adorable microfiber towels. They got a little thing here. I love these so much. They're perfect when canning because I love to put my jars on them because something about the microfiber, they don't like slide like normal towels do, but they're also just great. They're actually surprisingly absorbent. I was typically not a fan of microfiber as far as the absorbent level goes, but I love these. Okay, I've got my little tool I need to find. Oh yeah, here we go. My jar lifter, my bands, I have my lids. I have more wide mouth pint jars that I'm going to be using up. Our small mouth pint jars we typically use for drinking glasses. So I'm going to be using mostly wide mouth, and I also have no idea how many jars this is going to fill. So this is a canner. I'll list the model here. I can't remember which one. This one, Miss Bonnie Blue, is a different model canner. So I will list, I think Miss Bonnie Blue is the 910 model. This one is one step above. So I'll list them here on which canners I have. I got both of them in Pleasant Hill Grain, and I love them. Okay, I also have a pot of water that is boiling because I'm going to need that as well. We're going to place that here. I'm going to get my beans here, and we're going to get a little system going. Okay, before we do this, I am going to switch over here to the yogurt because I think these are done and we got to take care of this now. So let's move over there. All right, our yogurt right now is 112 degrees, so close enough. All right, and now we're just going to add in, if you have a starter, you add it here, but I'm adding some of a previous batch of yogurt that I just made. So that's this here. This is where I use, look at that. Oh, look how pretty is that. This is where I used a Cultures for Health Greek yogurt starter. And so to here with the previous batch of yogurt, if you buy it from the store, you have to make sure it's live, lots of cultures. And so from here, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of our yogurt. I'm actually going to put this in my dehydrator to go for 24 hours to set. If you do not have a dehydrator, you can put this in a warmed oven, in a cooler with water about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Bottom line, it needs to be around 110 degrees for it to set. So let's get this over to our dehydrator. Okay, so here we have my dehydrator. This is, I don't have exactly 110, I just have 113. So temp, yeah, so I keep it at 113 and it did just fine. And then the timer, I will link this dehydrator below. I did take all the trays out and this works perfect for yogurt. I could probably fit 6 jars in here. It's awesome. But that was kind of my fault. So we're going to let that go. Now I'm actually going to do Ezekiel. So here we're actually going to be making the overnight oats. So this is an excellent thing to do if you need a fast breakfast in the morning. If you don't like them cold, you can always heat them up. But this is actually a recipe from Jamaril Stewart. But I also did this with flaked barley. That's actually a reel on Instagram that I will link below because the recipe is there. But these are absolutely delicious and my children love them. And again, it makes for a very quick and easy breakfast for those busy mornings. So it's about 8 o'clock at night. It's time for family devotions. I've got the canner going, the bread machine going with the Ezekiel bread, and I'm going to call it a night for tonight. I'm going to clean up and get some other work done, but we're at least set for breakfast tomorrow, so I can get right on to it. And I'll probably film whenever I take these jars out to cool. I don't know. We'll see. At the very least, I'll show you guys tomorrow. See you tomorrow. All right, next day, I did get my black beans canned. They have cooled down and are looking really great. So I just need to put labels on them, kind of wipe off the tops, and then we can store them. My granola I also got done, and it turned out pretty well. A few things about the granola that I learned is that very important when it's done to immediately remove it from the crock pot. I actually just took the crock pot out of its the heating element, and just let it sit there overnight, and then actually like solidified, and I had to go in and like really break it up. So in the future, when it's done, I'm gonna take it out and like spread it out on a sheet pan so it can harden, which it hardened very well. And I will say, like, this looks really good. Do make sure you stir it when you need to, because it will burn. I had it burn just a teeny bit, not enough where, you know, we need to throw it away, but oops on my part. So that turned out well. I've already given it to my kids with some of my yogurt that I made earlier, and some blackberries, and they loved it. I still have the yogurt finishing up in the dehydrator. I do keep that in there for 24 hours. It has about 5 hours left, and then I'll be able to put it in the fridge. And so now what I've got is my stock I had going all night just on low. It's simmered beautifully, and I've still got my canner out. So we are going to can some stock. I also need to bake some bread. I may make some cinnamon rolls. I'm not really sure, but I do need to do some rolls for tonight as well. I'm also going to be roasting a turkey and making some field peas because we're having a group come over tonight to our house, and it's a potluck, and we themed it like a Thanksgiving theme. And I have one of our turkeys that we raised, that we slaughtered, that, you know, I'd like to use up. And so I'm roasting the turkey, I'm making the rolls, and I'm also making the gravy as well. And they're bringing other things. And I think I'm also going to do some field peas. I need to look to see what everyone else is doing, but that's going to be kind of later, closer to supper time. And I think I'm going to also do another Ezekiel bread in the bread machine. Still working on that recipe as of recording this video. And we're going to be tweaking, taking some notes with that. The last one I did, I actually backed off on the flour, and it still came out. It came out too dense. Because it didn't rise as well. So got a few things I'm wanting to tweak with that, and we're just gonna get going again. So I will say these labels right here were sent to me by one of y'all, and I love them. I love them because they're dissolvable labels, so I can put them on my jars, and the only thing I need to remove them is just run it over water, and it's amazing. Yeah, if you are new to pressure canning, the easiest things by far to pressure can are beans and the stock. So again, these were just really, really easy to do. My other favorite thing that I love to pressure can a lot is chicken, because again, we raise our own chickens. So I've got a good amount of them, and I may not always have freezer space, or I want to clear up some freezer space, or I just want canned chicken on hand. So I actually do a combination of like the breast I can, where they're boneless chicken, and then everything else I just leave on the bone. So the legs, the thighs, and the wings I leave on the bone. So I have bone-in chicken. And all it is I raw pack them, which means I just put them in the jars raw and pressure can them, and that cooks them. They are nice and juicy for me, and they're great for whenever I need, say I need chicken for a soup or chicken salad, or just anytime I'm needing a meat that's already cooked. It is a wonderful thing. And so I would say that's also an easy thing because there's no seasonings, nothing. It's just packing in jars and canning. Pretty much the same thing with beans. It's just cooking them, canning them. Now the stock is, just make your stock, and then you can can it, and then you have your own stock on hand. And good news about the stock that we're about to get to, as far as pressure canning goes, it only takes needs 25 minutes to pressure can after it gets to pressure and everything like that, as opposed to the normal like 75 to 90 minutes that many other items need for pressure canning. So the stock is a really easy thing to do as well, which, speaking of, we're now going to get started on. That beautiful, absolutely beautiful broth there. Oh, that is a perfect color. So again, what I did is yesterday around, I think it was 4:30, huge pot of the stock. So if it's less stock, it will take you less time. But this is what it looks like after I brought it to a boil, and then I let it simmer from 4 o'clock until a few hours ago. So it was actually over. So that would be 12. For about 19, 20 hours. And it was on low, simmering, but that is a beautiful, beautiful color. I'm so excited. And the secret to your gravies, to your soups, as the French know, it is the stock. You gotta have a good stock. So this is for tonight. I made an in the comments below if you would like me to do more canning videos. I love to can. I absolutely love it. I've been doing it for a while, and just let me know if you would like to actually see videos dedicated to canning. But here we go with our 5 jars. So again, not completely full, but this isn't taking hours, so this will be fine. We're going to can these up, and again, when it reaches pressure, only needing about 25 minutes. So let's get it in. So it's been really stormy here today, so it keeps our power keeps flickering on and off. I only have 4 hours away from my yogurt, but I'm gonna go in and pull it out because when I fed my kids my last batch of yogurt, some of them said a little too tangy. So I'm gonna back it off, cut off 4 hours from it, and let's see how they like this yogurt. But we're gonna go ahead and get that out here. I will say this dehydrator, this is the London Sunshine. Again, this was sent to me, and this is the first time I'm using it. But this thing is super, super quiet. I don't even realize, I can't even hear it. What you hear is the canner. I don't even hear this thing really. So far, I really like it. It's done well with my yogurt. So it is a little bit liquidy, but that is fine because it actually sets more when it's in the fridge. So we're just gonna put this in the fridge for at least 6 hours. I'm not gonna need it today, so it'll be, you know, tomorrow or so. And there we go. We already have the turkey out. My recipe says the turkey needs to come out of the fridge for about an hour before cooking to bring it to room temperature. So I'll be throwing that in a bit. And now I think we're gonna throw Ezekiel bread in the bread machine and then get started on our loaves of bread and stuff that we need. So no surprise here, this is my simple yeast bread loaf recipe. I've done videos about this before. I will link it below and up here as well. But in my Bosch Universal Mixer Plus, which is the mixer that I'm using, this one I can actually make 5 loaves. So that's full capacity. But this is why I absolutely love the Bosch, because I'm able to crank out so much just in one go. Now I do have to mill my wheat twice because my Wonder Mill cannot mill it all at once. But here it is, y'all. And I'm actually going to include most of the whole kneading process because I think it's pretty relaxing. Okay, and here I'm going to start getting the garlicky herb type butter sauce, or just kind of, it's softened at first and then we melt it butter for the turkey. And in between, when the rolls are done, I stick them in and then continue peeling an obscene amount of garlic. But y'all, this is so good. This is actually the exact same recipe that I use for Thanksgiving if I'm the one in charge of the turkey. And it is so good and so delicious. Again, this recipe will be linked below. One of my jars broke that I can't, you know, whenever I put it in here, I thought I heard a crack, but I wasn't sure. But so lost a quart of stock, but at least it's well contained. So easy cleanup, but I lost a jar. All right, y'all, we're doing pretty good. So the turkey's in the oven, the 3 loaves of bread are in the oven. My Ezekiel bread, I think I nailed the recipe. So again, I'm not sure if that video will have come out before this one, but look on it on my channel or I will link it below for y'all. But I think I finally nailed it. I have to wait for it to cool before slicing it to really tell. My rolls are done. We are going to be serving those for supper tonight. I do prefer them hot, so I'm probably just going to stick them back in the oven to warm them up, but at least they're done. Got my 4 chicken stock there. That's got to have time to cool. And we've got the giblets on the, they're just giblets. Giblets? Let me know if you say giblets or giblets. I said giblets and my husband gave me a look like I was an idiot. I've always said giblets. It's giblets? Oh, pedal your giblets out like on Chicken Run. All right, so giblets. Let me know which one you say. It's like niche or niche, tomato. You know what I mean. That is simmering on the stove. I'm not sure, I doubt I'm going to be filming me making the gravy, but I will post the recipe that I use down below. We're going to make in giblet gravy with some of the drippings from the turkey and some of the chicken stock, and it's going to be magnifique. But otherwise, we're doing pretty good. Now I just really have to be cleaning up. And yeah, doing good all the time. Like, go me, I'm doing good. So here we are. All the things are done, except I still have the turkey in the oven. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video because we had company over, but that and the gravy turned out perfectly. So there you go, guys. We did all the things. And I mean like all the things. So it was, but actually a huge thing is definitely make a plan beforehand. That's what helps you accomplish a lot of these things is I made a plan beforehand, really determining what needed my oven, what needed my Instant Pot, what needed the burners, everything like that. And that really helped to help things go smoothly. And these were not new to me recipes. Pretty much all of these, except the granola and the crock pot, was very familiar to me. So don't do all this with like all brand new recipes because that will slow you down. But otherwise, all the links, all the recipes will be in the description box below. I hope that this was kind of an inspiration for y'all to have these productive days in your kitchen. And also, again, thank you so much to 4Generations Organic Farms for being awesome and always making sure that I have some great wheat berries that I can work with every single time. And just, again, grainsandgrit.com/4generations to shop with 4Generations Organic Farms. Again, organic wheat berries that are clean. They grow them themselves, they harvest them, and it's a great company and family to support. So be sure to check them out. And as always, hopefully y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.